In the 21st century classroom, literacy does not just include reading books and writing papers. Today, the definition of literacy encompasses reading, writing, as well as speaking, listening, and thinking. Since our definition of literacy has changed, the kinds of texts which we interact with have changed too. When thinking about text, we often think of books, movies, and maybe digital text. In my teaching reading class, we are encouraged to work with a completely different kind of text, physical spaces. On our first field trip to El Museo, the class considered how we read the space of that museum. Personally, I thought about a video which I had seen in the museum about the Mexican-American history of Fort Collins. From that, I learned information through watching images and listening to audio. I was also able to understand or read the space with the help of Chuck, a speaker who told us about his own experiences. In this space, there are also many artifacts for us to look at. I really enjoyed looking at the old Sears catalog and reading some of the crazy prices. To successfully read the space of the museum, I had to combine my understanding from these three different texts and use them together to form a larger sense of the space. In the 21st century classroom, this is how students need to learn. They are no longer just gaining literacy through their reading and writing skills. Instead, students must be comfortable using a wide number of different texts to gain understanding. Taking students on a field trip could be a good way to practice using multiple literacies. When students are asked to read a space like the museum, they must be aware of what they are hearing, what they are seeing, and where this information is coming from. By asking students to read a space, they must employ multiple literacies and be aware of how those literacies work together to create a wider understanding.
Going to the Museum of Discovery, I didn't really know what to expect. I had never been there before, and come to think of it, it had been years since I stepped into any type of museum altogether. Turns out, you don't have to be a kid to enjoy yourself on a field trip. The place was flooded with kids, and obviously they were having the time of their lives as they ran from station to station. It didn't take long for the excitement to wear off, and my group of friends and I, that I convinced to come with me. We joined in with the other groups and learned how to make music with block-like instruments, made our own parachutes, explored history through interactive exhibits, and even learned what it would be like to experience a tornado standing in a wind tunnel. The amount to learn, see, read, and experience was almost overwhelming. Not only did we have a fun time though, the trip to the museum gave us a hands-on experience to reading the spaces around us. With each new exhibit and activity, we had to engage not only through visual means, but kinesthetically as well. Things didn't even include any sort of instructions, or if they did, they were sparse. It was an eye-opening experience learning how to read not only with our eyes, but through experimenting, trying new things, and most of all, having fun.